I don't see any sign. Hello.
Hello?
I'm checking the transmission. Yes, oh, great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Mackey. It's an honor, pleasure to see you, even on the screen. I regret that we can't host you in Katowice in person. But I'm glad that we can proceed this ceremony online. My name is Ryszard Koziołek. I'm the rector of University of Silesia, and I will conduct this ceremony. I open the promotion ceremony and welcome the distinguished promoted Professor Michael C. Mackey. I would like to welcome the supervisor of doctoral dissertation, Professor Ryszard Rudnicki. Ryszard Rudnicki, born in 1957 in Myszków, in 1980 he graduated in mathematics at the University of Silesia, where he also defended his doctoral thesis in 1986 and habilitation in 1993. Since 1994, he has been working at the Institute of Mathematics of the Polish Academy of Sciences as the head of the Katowice branch. And until 2012, he also worked at the Institute of Mathematics of the University of Silesia. He was awarded the title of professor in 2021. In 1997, he received the scientific award of the Division 3 of the Polish Academy of Science, and in 2010, the Hugo Steinhaus Main Award of the Polish Mathematical Society. He was the supervisor of 8 doctorates. He's the author of 3 monographs and over 100 publications in the field of differential equation, dynamical system, probabilistic methods, and mathematical biology, where he successfully applies advanced methods of pure mathematics. He's also the author of the widely read textbook Lectures in Mathematical Analysis. He was the head of many research projects, including being a coordinator in international projects. Since 1999, he has repeatedly been a member of the NCS Ministry and NCN expert team evaluating research projects, including the chair of the ST1 team at NCN in 2011-2012. He has organized 7 international conferences, and in 2011 was chairman of the scientific committee of the 8th European Conference on Mathematical and Theoretical Biology in Krakow, Poland, with nearly 1,000 participants. From 2011 to 2017, he was a board member of the European Society for Mathematical and Theoretical Biology. He was chairman of the main committee of the Mathematical Olympiad from 27 to 29. I would like to welcome the reviewers. Professor Tomasz Szarek, presented ceremony. Tomasz Szarek, born in 19 September 1968 in Rzeszów, professor of mathematical sciences and doctor of philosophy, an employee of the Gdańsk University of Technology, as well as the head of the Sopot branch of the Institute of Mathematics of the Polish Academy of Sciences. Visiting professor at many universities around the world, Oxford, Cambridge universities. He deals with stochastic dynamical system. I very welcome Professor Alexander Veron. Alexander Veron obtained his Bachelor of Science in 1968 in mathematics.
Down here.
Fellowship under the Fulbright program at the University of California, USCB Santa Barbara and UCLA Los Angeles, in 1995-1996. He's currently a full professor in the Department of Applied Mathematics at Wrocław University of Science and Technology and has been recently awarded the status of Professor Magnus for his scientific excellence. He's also the head of the Hugo Steinhaus Center of Stochastic Methods. Professor Vernon is an author or editor of 13 books and has published over 145 research papers on probability theory, stochastic processes, and their applications to physics, biology, and economy. His recent research interests include anomalous diffusion, ergodicity testing, fractional dynamics, and molecule imaging. I would like to welcome Professor Michael C. Reed. Michael C. Reed is the Distinguished Arts and Sciences Professor of Mathematics at Duke University. His early work was in mathematical physics, and he is known for the 4-volume series Methods of Modern Mathematical Physics, co-authored with Barry Simon. Since 1985, he has been using mathematical methods to understand mechanisms in human psychology and medicine, including actional transport, the auditory brainstem, and liver metabolism, in particular sex differences. His work on the brain metabolism of serotonin, dopamine, and histamine has led to new hypotheses on the causes of depression and the treatment of Parkinson's disease. I warmly welcome all the members of the Senate of the University of Silesia, representatives of the Faculty of Science and Technology, as well as all the guests who participate in this ceremony online. I would like to express my gratitude to the supervisor, Professor Ryszard Rudnicki, for taking up numerous duties related to this important function, especially for the preparation of the laudation. And also I would like to express my gratitude to the reviewers for taking the effort to prepare reviews of activities of the promoted Professor Michael C. Mackey. Now, following the academic tradition, I formally announce the start of the ceremony of conferring honorary doctorate degree of the University of Silesia to Professor Michael C. Mackey, Professor Emeritus of Physiology and the Director of the Center for Applied Mathematics in Bioscience and Medicine, McGill University in Montreal, a fellow member of the Royal Society of Canada, the American Physical Society, the Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics, and the Society for Mathematical Biology, holder of the honorary doctorate degree at l'Université Claude Bernard, Lyon, one of the world's most outstanding biomathematicians. He has contributed greatly to the development of interdisciplinary research combining maths, physics, biology, and medicine. Now, I would like to ask for speech of the supervisor, Professor Ryszard Rudnicki. Professor Rudnicki, the floor is yours. Yes. Professor, you can be seated.
Magnificence, most august Senate, most honorable Doctor, ladies and gentlemen, dear Professor Michael C. Mackey, it's a great pleasure for our university to confer the dignity of Doctor Honoris Causa to you. It's an honor for me to be a supervisor of my friend, also a great friend of our university. I have the privilege to say a few words about bestowed. Today, Professor Michael C. Mackey presents his great scientific achievements and indicate his strong relations with members of our university. Professor Michael C. Mackey was born on 16th of November 1942 He graduated with Bachelor of Art in Mathematics in 1963 at the University of Kansas. He received his doctoral degree in physiology and biophysics in 1968 at the University of Washington. Since 1971, he has been associated with the Department of Physiology and Center for Applied Mathematics in Bioscience and Medicine at McGill University in Montreal, Canada. In scientific investigation, he remains scholar of the Renaissance. His main scientific results concern mathematical biology, but this is only a part of his broad interests. He has always been fascinated in mathematical theory of chaos, operator theory, differential equation, and statistical physics. The spectrum of his works from mathematical biology is very broad. He started from the theory of ion transport through biological membranes. Then he investigated models of physiological processes, hematological disease, neural networks, and gene expressions. The results of his research were published in 8 monographs and over 200 scientific papers. I would not like to evaluate particular results of our honored guest, but I am quite sure that the Mackey glass equation will go down in history. His monograph with Andrzej Lasota, Chaos, Fractals, and Noise, Stochastic Aspect of Dynamics, is also widely known. His papers are frequently cited in the scientific literature, over 24,000 times according to Google Scholar. For his achievements, Professor Mackey was honored to be a Fellow of Royal Society of Canada in 1999, American Physical Society in 2006, Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics in 2009. In 2010, he became honoris causa doctor de la Université Claude Bernard Lyon. In 2012, he received the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal from Canadian government. Professor Michael C. Mackey also held the prestigious function of the president of the Society for Mathematical Biology, an international organization comprising scientists from many fields of science who deal with mathematical modeling in biology and medicine. Professor Mackey was strongly involved with members of the University of Silesia, especially with Professor Andrzej Lasota, the head of the Department of Biomathematics. The beginning of his collaboration with Andrzej Lasota was inspired by the research of Maria Warzewska-Czyżewska on the functioning of hematopoietic system and hemolytic disease. Maria Warzewska-Czyżewska was the daughter of the famous Polish mathematician Tadeusz Warzewski, teacher and master of Andrzej Lasota, and she was an outstanding hematologist from the Medical University in Kraków. Warzewska and Lasota developed a model of red blood cells production. It turned out that Lasota and Mackey have much more wider common interest, which caused Professor Mackey to visit the University of Silesia many times. At the beginning of the 80s, they started to work on a book on chaos of dynamical systems. Joined writing mathematical books in pre-internet area and additionally during the martial law in Poland was quite challenging. Moreover, one of them Michael visit was during the state of Lasota in the nephrology clinic where they work on the rest of the book. I also visited Professor Lasota in hospital at that time. It was a good occasion for me to meet Michael and to have a small participation in preparation of the book related to my research on chaos for partial differential equation. It is worth to mention the paper written by them during this period concerning a cell cycle model. Not only the subject of the paper, but also its mathematical aspects were a source of inspiration for many future investigations. My closer collaboration with Michael began in 1990. Fortunately, the internet and email were already available in Poland at that time, so we could easily contact at a distance. We studied an advanced system of partial differential equations describing growth and differentiation of cells. We have written 4 papers on various subjects concerning mathematical biology, and thanks to the fact that we worked a lot at a distance, I learned to write papers in tech quite early. Professor Mackey participated as an invited speaker in several conferences organized by our team, among others in a biweekly school and a conference in 2002 devoted to models of population dynamics, where he started cooperation with Marta Tyran-Kamińska, which resulted in over a dozen of scientific papers. At that moment, I would like to thank Marta Tyran-Kamińska for her help in preparation of this ceremony. Professor Mackey has published 3 monographs and around 30 papers with members of the Department of Biomathematics of our university. I would also like to mention 8 European conferences on mathematical and theoretical biology, organized by our team in 2011. It was a large conference with around 1,000 participants. One of the co-organizers of the conference was the Society for Mathematical Biology, and Michael was the president of this society at that time. I was impressed by his 2-page letter called Plan of Work, which contained very detailed instruction concerning the preparation of the conference. I have mentioned about it to draw attention to features as important as organizational skills and methodology of action, but little appreciated in the scientific community. I think that thanks to these skills, Professor Mackey's cooperation with Professor Lasota and other members of our team went well in the difficult period of the 80s. He is a scientist who is open to discussions, often on topics that are scientifically distant. During his stay in Katowice, he was often invited by physicists with whom he had many common scientific interests. He is an open-minded person who keeps track of our result and is willing to give valuable advice. By accepting Professor Mackey as a doctor honoris causa of the University of Silesia, we honor an outstanding scholar with great merits in the development of interdisciplinary research combining mathematics, physics, biology, and medicine. We also express gratitude to him for maintaining comprehensive scientific contacts with Polish scientists. At the end, I would like to read the final formula of Laudatio. In recognition of your outstanding services and achievements, on the 29th of November 2011, the most august Senate of the University of Silesia in Katowice decided to award and confer on you, most honorable doctoral candidate, a doctorate honoris causa. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rudnicki. The confirmation of this degree, this honorary degree is a diploma. And now I ask the Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology, Professor of Technical Science, Danuta Strusz, to read the text of the diploma of the distinguished doctoral student. I have to add that the text is in Latin.
Quod felix Faustum fortunatum quesit. Sumis auspiciis serenissime rei publice Polonorum nos, Ricardus Koziołek, Universitatis Silesiae hoc tempore rector magnificus, et Danuta Strusz, Scientiarum Technicarum Profestrix, Facultatis Scientiarum Exactarum et Technicarum hoc tempore decana spectabilis, et Richardus Rudnicki, Scientiarum Mathematicarum Professor, hac in occasione promotor rite constitutus, in virum clarissimum ac doctissimum, Michael C. Mackey, qui Physiology Professor Emeritus Centrum Mathematicarum Doctrinarum ad Scientas Biologicas et Artem Medicinalem Applicandarum Universitate nomine McGill ornata Monte Regali Canadiensi locata dirigit Societatis Regalis Canadiensis Societatis Septentrionalium Americanorum ad Physicae Scientam promovendam Societatis ad Mathematicam Industrialem et Applicatam promovendam Societatisque Biologiae Mathematicalis Socium Honorabilis est, Doctoris Honoris Causa Universitatis Claudii Bernard Lucduni, locate nomine celebratur, unus expertisiomorum toto orbe terrarum, virorum doctorum, qui res ad biologiam mathematicalem pertinentes penitus indagat, est ad plurimum ad scientificas investigationes rerum mathematicarum, physicarum, biologicarum, ac medicinalium uniendas ac excolentias fecit. Doctoris honoris causa, nomen et dignitatem, iura et privilegia, contulimus atque inienius rei fidem hoc diploma Universitatis nostre sigillo maiore munitum sanciendum curavimus dabamus Katowice die unter trisemisa mensis novembris anno bis millesimo vicesimo altero. Danuta Strusz hoc tempore decana spectabilis. Richardus Koziołek hoc tempore rector magnificus. Richardus Rudnicki promotor rite constitutus. And now I respectfully request the magnificence rector of the University of Silesia, professor of humanities, to perform the act of promotion of the doctoral students, Professor Michael C. Mackey.
Doctorande clarissime, itaque iam nihil impedit, quominus honores quod obtinere cupis, tibi impertiamus. Ergo ego te doctorem honoris causa creo, creatum renuntio atque doctoris honoris causa, nomen et honores, iura ac privilegia omnia in te confero. In eiusque rei fidem hoc diploma universitatis nostre sigillo insignitum tibi in manus trado. Fanfara. We need fanfare. before that, I would like to assure Professor that all this symbolic artifact will be sent directly to you by traditional email. For sure. For sure. Traditional mail, post mail, of course, not email. I'm sorry. Thank you. I think that we can sit. I don't know. Maybe fanfare doesn't work. But this is not the end, because the third thing is the commemorative work of art by Krzysztof Marek Bąk, PhD, Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Educational Sciences, and I would like to show all of us, especially to Professor Mackey, the presentation of the work of art, which explains its symbolism. Maybe we will succeed with presentation. Is it possible? Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. It's now's the time for reviewers. The first, I would like to ask Professor Tomasz Szarek to give you a short speech. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Rector. Highly esteemed Professor Mackey. It's a great pleasure and a real honor to be here today. I have known Professor Mackey since 1992. At that time, I began to study here in Katowice for my PhD under the supervision of the late Professor Lassota. It was Lassota who brought my attention to scientific achievements of Professor Mackey. I have a great admiration for these achievements and strongly personal attitude towards them, partly due to the fact that the first scientific paper I have ever read in depth was his Why Do Cells Divide? The paper finally appeared in the Journal of Mathematical Biology under the changed title because during reviewing process, a referee had insisted on changing the title and make it more descriptive. So the title of this paper is, as I remember, some cell divisions and cellular populations. I have, as I said, I like all Michael's results, but I have to mention about the outstanding book he wrote jointly with Lasota, this book Professor Rudnicki mentioned also, Chaos, Fractals and Noise. This book is still a Bible on the Markov processes and their applications. So it became a source of informations and inspiration for many scientists and even graduate students because his reader-friendly style written. Professor Mackey has substantially influenced mathematics in Katowice and is still engaged in research. So he works jointly with Professor Tyran-Kamińska. So I think that we can expect next results in the close future. I think that Professor Mackey deserves this recognition like no one else. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Szerota. Now, if I may ask about a few words, Professor Alexander Veron. Please, Professor.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was introduced to Professor Mackey by Professor Lasota during one of the conferences in level. It was after they published this book, which was already mentioned here by the previous person, namely this book on probabilistic properties of deterministic systems, Cambridge University, published in 1985. Well, the second book, which was already mentioned, that it was a joint book also by Lasota and Mackey, Chaos, Fractal, Noise, stochastic aspects of dynamics by Springer-Verlag. But the most impressive for me was the recent publication of Professor Mackey jointly with Jerome Lawson, Richard Taylor, and Marta Tyran-Kamińska, were density evolution under the light dynamics. And this was a monograph in the Fields Institute, which was published in 2020, which is a very intriguing subtitle, An Open Problem. Well, finally, in my opinion, Professor Mackey fully deserved for this honorary doctorate from the Silesian University for the very active scientific cooperation with the professor of this university. Doctorante clarissime, plurimus annos.
Thank you very much, Professor Veron. And last but not least, Professor Michael C. Reed. Please, Professor, give us a short speech.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to participate for me. We've all heard of all the Mike's scientific achievements, but I wanted to say why he and his work have been so important for the development of the field of mathematical biology, which is now a very, very large field. But in 1980, you could count the people who said they were mathematical biologists on your fingers. How did this happen? It happened because biology changed. The old biology was descriptive. Think of Linnaeus in the field in Sweden, describing flowers and drawing them in his notebooks. That's the old biology. The new biology asks, why? How did it happen? And if you ask why and how did it happen, then physics, chemistry, and mathematics automatically come in. So Mike's career was so influential. I would say no one else has been as influential as he has been in the last 40 years, because his work stretched all the way from theoretical mathematics and physics to very concrete medical applications, like what is the right dosing technique for chemotherapy for cancer patients. So why was this so important? Well, back in 1980, mathematicians and physicists thought biology was almost not a science. It's just a bunch of descriptions of stuff out there. And Mike's work, his theoretical work, showed that there were a huge number of very exciting mathematics and physics questions coming up in biology. On the other hand, people in the biological sciences were very prejudiced against mathematicians and physicists, thinking, well, they're not actually in the lab looking at the cells, so they don't have anything to contribute. But we do have a lot to contribute. And Mike's work showed them, especially in medicine, how much mathematicians and physicists could contribute. You've heard that he introduced many new things, of course, in mathematics and physics. He also had enormous educational contributions. He started the programs in physiology and physics at McGill, and physiology and mathematics contributed to at McGill. These are interdisciplinary programs because Mike saw very early on that we needed a new way of training students, not narrowly in one discipline, but across several disciplines. Finally, I want to say personality is very important. Mike has had a very large number of PhD students and postdocs, many of them women. He trained them all with kindness, independent of national origin or religion or all that stuff, and taught them to be searchers and to be ethical professionals. So in a certain sense, he set the tone in mathematical biology for collaboration between people, collaboration that's positive and not competitive. And that has been the theme of the field, and those ideas come from Mike Mackey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Reed, for your words. Now, the most awaited moment of this ceremony is coming. I mean, the distinguished honorary doctor's speech. Professor Michael C. Mackey, the floor is yours.
Okay. Rector and members of the Senate in Silesia and faculty members and guests who are there in the audience or guests who are watching on the internet. Wow, what can I say? I'm overwhelmed. You have no idea what an honor it is to be here today. An honor because of the fact that this is the highest honor your university can give me, but also because of my long connection with Katowice and with the university, and because of the importance that it plays in my heart and has played in my life. Quite honestly, I didn't think I'd ever see this day, because when I first got the letter from the rector, I think it wasn't you, I think it was a previous rector. It was in January of 2020, and I got the letter and I was really excited. And then by February of 2020, everything had gone to hell in a handbasket. And I thought, I'll never get to Poland. I'll never be able to collect this honor. I'll never be able to go back to Katowice. So I thank you for this very innovative way of doing a ceremony like this. I don't know if you've ever done it this way before or not, but I have to tell you that it pleases me and gladdens my heart greatly to be able to do it this way. Now, I have been privileged to be able to live my professional life as an academic like most of the people sitting there in the Senate. We have one of the most privileged careers in all of civilization because we are basically able to follow our nose to investigate things that are interesting to us. And we have the rare gift of being able to teach and help young people, young, bright minds into our fields. And the thing that's really exciting is when you get a student and you realize that they're smarter than you are. And then when they finally finish and they leave, they fly away from the nest, you know that you've actually created a new colleague who will do things even better than you were able to do. That's one of the most exciting things in the world, I think. And that's why we're very privileged to be able to be members of academic communities. Now, my own personal path in science was a little bit strange. I don't think I actually ever had much of a plan. I think I sort of wandered from pillar to post. But one thing I did know was that I chose, actually, initially I didn't, but later on I chose to work on problems that didn't seem to be very popular. And I think I did that because I don't like crowds. And so I tended to pick things where it wasn't very crowded. And it worked out pretty well. And as a consequence of that, I met some absolutely wonderful colleagues. We became personal friends. We've worked together. We've written things together. Families have become close with each other. And that's one of the most exciting things about an academic career is the fact that you end up meeting all these wonderful, intellectually interesting people that you can relate to on not only a professional level, but also a personal level. Now, I think it's really important to realize, as I do, that honors like the one that you've given me today are not a consequence of one person's achievements. They are a consequence of many interactions with colleagues, and they are, in a sense, a very collective kind of accomplishment. So the fact that you have chosen to honor me in this way, I think is a reflection on the many talented people that I've had the opportunity and the good fortune to work with over many years. And in my own case, this is in large part due to the initial contacts I made when I went to Katowice. I first met Andrzej Lasota in 1977. It was 45 years ago. It's a lifetime. That 45 years is older than some of you sitting in that room. And when I first met Lasota, I think it was like a revelation for both of us. Here we were 6,000 or 7,000 kilometers apart working on things that turned out to be virtually identical mathematically and physiologically. And I have to ask, what's the chance of something like that happening? It's sort of mind-boggling to me. And then the first time I went to Poland, things were a lot different than they are there now. And it was pretty challenging. It was pretty interesting. And Lasota welcomed me into his family. We became very good friends. He, his wife, my wife. My family visited in Katowice in the middle 1980s. My children still remember the visit. And so there's been a long history of ties between myself and people in Katowice. And for that, I really thank you tremendously. I'm I'm profoundly grateful, and I'm very indebted to the contacts that I made in Silesia, in Katowice. And so I would like to say simply that I'm very touched by this honor, and it means a huge amount to me. It means much more than you can possibly imagine. So dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you very much, Professor Mackey. Of course, for us, it's the first time when we organize this kind of ceremony, high ceremony in academic life by internet. But I have strong impression that despite the distance between Katowice and Montreal, we feel your spirit among us, your generosity, your sense of humor, your knowledge, your wisdom, like you will be among us. Thank you for your acceptance of our degree. We would like to wish you a long life in good health and many scientific achievements, and I hope that someday, as soon as possible, you will be in person among us. Yes. So, we're coming to the end of this ceremony. Now I would like to thank our distinguished guests and all participants for taking part in the ceremony of promotion of the distinguished honorary doctor of the University of Silesia, Professor Michael C. Mackey, and informed that the ceremony has come to an end. Please rise from your seats. The time for Gaudeamus.
Gaudeamus igitur iuve vestum sumus. Gaudeamus igitur iuve vestum sumus. Post depositam juventutem, post molestam senectutem, nos haberit humus. Nos haberit humus. Viva l'Accademia, viva professores. Viva l'Accademia, viva professores. Viva Bellebron Foliber, viva Bellebron Foliber, sempre sidi flore, sempre sidi flore.
Thank you all. Goodbye, Professor. Stay in health.
Thank you.
Thank you.